Hey, what's up, everybody? Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about the Windows Terminal. If you're not familiar with the Windows Terminal, it's a new terminal application for Windows. It really combines or enhances a lot of the functionality that's currently available to you through the command prompt, through PowerShell, through Visual Studio, command prompt. Just takes them all and gives you all the functionality in one. So let's jump into it. There are three versions, as you see on the slide here. You have the standard release version. That's the version that you generally want to be using. There is a preview version, so if you want to be on the latest and greatest, see what's coming up, preview version might be for you. And then there's a dev version, which for most people I would certainly recommend against. Okay, so let's talk about installing. There are two ways to install the Windows Terminal. One is through the Windows Store, and the other is direct through GitHub. So why don't we start by checking out the store. So from your Windows, I'm assuming right now that you're using Windows 10. If you're on Windows 11, I would make sure that you don't already use Terminal. I know in the latest builds of Windows 11, Windows Terminal is available, so you may already have it. But if you don't have it, let us go to the store. And then when we're at the store, we'll just search for Windows Terminal. And you'll notice it comes up right here. Here's the Windows Terminal. If we click Get, it's going to download it for us. It went pretty quick. We could hit open, but let's not right now. Let's close the window. And now if we come down here and type terminal, you'll see you have it. You might want to, I like to pin it to the taskbar so I have it available. Now if we click on it, you'll note here it is. Before we talk about it, let's go back and talk about the other options to install it. So the other way that you can install is through GitHub. So if you want to install it through GitHub, you would go to, okay, so if you want to install it through GitHub, instead, let's flip back to our computer and launch our Chrome, well, Edge browser. And Microsoft Terminal. And here it is. I won't go through installing it through GitHub, but it's available out here, all the different versions, if you want to grab them, install them for yourself without using the Microsoft Store. As a note, the store is the recommended way to do it. All right, now that we have it installed, let's go through some of the options. So one cool thing you will immediately notice is it allows for tabbed browsing. So now, tabbed consoling. So now you can click the plus sign to get some additional consoles. Very cool. The other thing you can do, if you look at this drop down here, is it shows you all the various command prompts that you have available. So if I just want a standard command prompt and I click on that, I get one. If I want the Visual Studio developer command prompt, I get that one. So they're all available, which is also very nice. Other than that, it works just like the other console did. If we come down here and type command, there we go, we still have the old command prompt. All right, this is what has always bothered me about the Windows Terminal, and that's it doesn't replace the default command prompt. And I'm old school. I'm so used to clicking start, typing CMD and hitting enter that I ended up not using the new Windows Terminal as much as I'd like to. So why do I like to use the new Windows Terminal so much? One is just how configurable it is. You can really do a lot more when it comes to changing the color schemes, changing what shell you're using, and it does have a slightly more modern look and feel than the classic command prompt. So let's take a quick look at some options. If we go back to our drop down, you'll notice we have a settings. One thing that is a relatively new addition to the Windows terminal, which I think is awesome, is going to be, I'm gonna have to find it. Anyway, give me a few minutes. So, some cool things when you really get into the settings of the Windows terminal. One of them is what you want your default command prompt to be. So, you can set it to start on any of these command prompts when it launches. I'm going to keep it PowerShell for now. You can choose to have it auto launch whenever your machine starts up, so it's just always there. And then there'll be some command palette, some key presses you can hit to show it and hide it. When the terminal starts, you have some options here. I'm used to it just starting clean, so I'm going to keep it the way it is. In terms of the launch mode, you can have it start a lot of different ways. Again, I like the default. I'm not going to mess with it. But if you wanted it to always start maximized or full screen or have the photo, you could change all that. You can also change your new instance behavior. So that means if you click it again, does it create a new window? That is what I'm used to. Apparently you have other options like adding it to the most recently used. So, and finally the launch size, how many columns, how many rows. Great. You can go through all these options yourself. I'm not going to go through every single option with you here today, but there is one specifically that I had heard about where it will now take over Windows as the default command prompt. And that, to me, is the one piece that's really been missing from me regularly using this and making sure I'm using this. Another useful setting as you go through it is run this profile as an administrator. So you could set up a profile that will always run an administrator for those times when you need administrative command prompt. The option to automatically launch the Windows terminal as your default command prompt shell might not be in Windows 10 till later this year when the next feature update comes out, now that they're only annual. So we might have to wait a little while to see that. But again, for now, it's fun to play with. It is a little nicer to use. And I just put a shortcut to it on my taskbar so it's easy to access and use the various prompts you need and get out. So with that, I guess this is a bit of a short video, but I did want to introduce you to the Windows terminal, let you know what's out there. It does look pretty cool. So hopefully us that are still using Windows 10 as our primary driver, hopefully we get a little love here and we get to use all of its features soon. Until next time, I hope you have a good night.